Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
I think many of us here know, CBS members, that we, after the candle lighting, have a variety of Shabbat prayers that we sing. Shalom Aleichem, Yedi Nefesh, L'chadodi. But Gordon and I were talking tonight, and we wanted to do Vishamru, which we haven't done for a while. It's on page 162, and I believe that this melody, that you wrote the melody to this version of Vishamru, correct?
If they like it, I wrote it.
Okay.
If they don't, I take no responsibility. But you'll know this. We've done this quite a bit. Starts off with lai lai, like this. Lai 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 Vishamru B'nei Yisrael Vishamru B'nei Yisrael Et HaShabbat La'asot Et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'dorit olam L'dorot olam, you're right. L'dorit olam Lai 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 lai. Yeah, clapping's fine too. Lai lai Beini Uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Beini Uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Vishamru b'nei Yisrael Vishamru b'nei Yisrael Et HaShabbat La'asot Et HaShabbat La'asot Et HaShabbat L'dorotam L'dorit olam La 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 Ki Sheshet Yamim Asa Adonai Et Hashamayim Ve'et Ha'aretz Vishamru B'nei Yisrael Vishamru B'nei Yisrael Et HaShabbat La'asot Et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'dorotam L'dorit olam Lai 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 Vishamru.
We continue now with our call to worship, the Baruch Hu, on page 146, and Aidan is going to be leading us in this initial call on Shabbat. So I'd like to invite you, if you are able, to please rise.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaMavarach. Baruch Adonai HaMavarach Le'olam Va'ed. Or Baruch, Atah Adonai. Or wait, okay.
And we'll sing it. How about you want to join me? If you like, here we go. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Please remain standing and join me at the top of page 149. Join me in Eden. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 151.
Okay. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you? Okay. Wisdom in one.
No, don't let me start.
Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand and be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Let's be seated.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol modecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibar tabam v'shiftecha b'veitecha u'vlechtecha v'derech Uv'shachcha uv'kumecha, u'kshartam lo al yadecha, v'hayu latotafo beinenecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha. Lama'an tizkaru, v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher Hotzetiachem Me'eretz Mitzrayim, Le'olachem Le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. That there is a better place, a promised land. That the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Page 158.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh. Norah Daily Adonai, Iloch leolam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nidar b'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nidar b'kodesh.
We continue on page 161.
Okay. Baruch Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai,
Haporei
Haporei
Sukkot Shalom.
Sukkot Shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim.
Hashivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom, Shalom. V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chayim. Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha. Adonai Eloheinu, the Shalom, the Hamidin Shomreinu, the Chayim, Ufros aleinu, Sukkot Shlomecha, Ufros aleinu, Sukkot Shlomecha.
We continue now with our own silent thoughts and prayers.
page 180. Ose shalom bimruma uyase shalom aleinu ve'yakol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimruma uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimruma uyase shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimroma uyase shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimroma uyase shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimroma uyase shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ve'imeru amen.
We take time now in our service to think of those in need of healing on this Shabbat, healing of body, healing of spirit, and healing of heart. And we ask God to bestow the blessing of refuah shlema, full and complete healing, to the following members of our community or those known and loved by our congregation: Harris Nussbaum, Lynn Mikulski, Ilana Massey, Kevin Brackett, Ginny Sims, Eileen Conklin, Nancy Jeanette, Michelle Camissia, Joshua Hyman, Dylan Bonnick, Diane Butler, Elsa Loach, Tony Wine, Elena Goldman, Mark Charney, Roger Widman, Ralph Garber, Maggie Sherman, Rachel Friedman, and Colleen James. And if anyone has a name they wish to add, please do so. The Mishaberach is on page 511.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach Imotenu Kor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing, Refuah Shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos again to everyone, and a special welcome to those who are here for Aiden's bar mitzvah. The Torah portion for this week is called Noah, and it contains two of the most famous stories in the entire Torah. Noah and the flood, which Aiden's going to be talking about tomorrow morning, and the story of the Tower of Babel. The generation of the flood proves to be out of harmony with God, but the generation of Babel is, in a different way, no better. Initially, we learn from the Torah, everyone speaks the same language. And for the first time, humans engage in large-scale construction. They were nomadic and agrarian up until this point. But first, they need the raw materials. So they say, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them hard." The very first instance of construction in the Torah. The people then say to one another, "Come, let us build us a city." There are no cities yet at this point. "And a tower with its top to the sky to make a name for ourselves." The goal of the people's effort is very clearly to extol their own greatness, to make a name for themselves. It is not to honor God. The tower is, in a concrete, tangible way, a metaphor for human ambition, an expression of their reaching for the stars, of striving to be like their Creator. Rather than gratitude to God for the world in which they live, the tower represents their self-glorification. According to the text, the sins of Noah's generation were corruption and lawlessness. Having learned little from the past, the generation of Babel sins as well, but it has a different set of moral and spiritual transgressions: egotism, indifference, and self-worship. A passage from Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, one of the Midrashic books, offers insight into the rabbinic mindset on the problems of this narrative. It says, "If a man fell and died during construction of the tower, they paid no heed to him. But if a brick fell, the other workers sat down and wept and said, 'Woe is us! When will another one come in its place?'" The central moral problem of the early generations of humanity is their absence of empathy and compassion for others. In the Midrash I just read, the workers building the Tower of Babel care nothing about the well-being of other people. All they care about is their supply of bricks. Self-aggrandizement, not the creation of a humane and just society, is their ultimate aim. Noah's generation, as Aiden's going to be reading tomorrow, is punished with a flood that consumes the earth and almost all life on it. Babel's generation is punished with a forced dispersal all over the world and confounded speech. Never again will all humanity live in a single place or speak the same language. The narcissism and self-worship on display in the initial chapters of Genesis lead to alienation from God. But they also lead to geographic and linguistic separation from one another, a dramatic existential detachment that continues into our own time. May our own generation finally learn from the past. And instead of focusing so much on ourselves, try to build just, humane, and loving communities that are grounded on the moral and spiritual values that God has given us. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. We are going to continue with the Aleinu prayer on page 586, and I'd like to ask you to please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach ha'adon ha'kol, lateit gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kamishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vigor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
Please be seated. We have some birthdays this week, so I want to acknowledge those birthdays and offer warm wishes to all who are celebrating this week and all those who are friends or family of those we're honoring. So a happy birthday to Bunny Finkelstein, Lynn Posner, Gary Shapiro, Sheila Amar, and Donna Bonnick. Anyone observing, or not observing, anyone celebrating a birthday or an anniversary this week? Okay, well, Yom Holedet Sameach, happy birthday to those we've mentioned. We're going to shift gears now as we turn to the mourner's Kaddish. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We think of and honor those who have died during this past year. Estelle Eisenberg, Rosie Rosenthal, Elliot Kapchan, Bill Chiat, Ed Hames, Arthur Waldinger, Judy Donaldson, Elizabeth Mautner, Helen Goodman, Michael Duff Fisher, Margaret Mary Oliveto, Ahuva Ben David, Dr. I. Harold Shevlin, Isadora Smith, Sanford Rubin, Stuart Paley, Bonnie Kapeloff Mamie, Dr. Ian Miller, Jimmy Rabb, Sandra Somek, Michael Gordon, Larry Elson, Arnold Trombler, and Erica Cornelison. We also remember and honor the yahrzeits, the anniversaries of the deaths of Finna Widman Eitan, Paul Simon Abramovitz, Dora Goldman, Steve Eisendrath, Albert Baum, and Marcus Widman. And if anyone has a name they wish to share, please do so. The mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, ve'alma divra cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomachon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulal me'el maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseb, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all those in mourning and comfort to all those who are bereaved, and let us all say amen. Please be seated. Audrey, I think they're ready for the final song, don't you think? They're doing really, really well, and you're doing a great job. So, Gordon, let's have that final song.
Okay, I got something upbeat they can dance to, okay? It's one that we haven't done here. Here, let me turn everything on. And, but they can't dance to it. It's on page 645, right in the kind of the middle of the page. Lo alecha. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, lo alecha ligmor, lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, lo alecha ligmor, velo ata ben pori lehibatel mimena, velo ata ben pori. Velo ata ben horin lehibatel mimena, velo ata ben horin. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, lo alecha ligmor, lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, lo alecha ligmor. Velo ata ben hori lehibatel mimena, velo ata ben hori, velo ata ben hori lehibatel mimena, velo ata ben hori. Last time, here we go. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, lo alecha ligmor, lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, lo alecha ligmor. You knew that song.
I did know that. And Gordon, I have always known you were a great musician, and I know you've moved people to...
You have moved people.
Yeah, you've made people laugh, you've made people cry. I've never seen you make people hug before, just spontaneously after your song. But obviously you guys are having a great time, right? Isn't he a good musician? I guess so. Okay, we are going to invite the Mariski family to come back up to lead us in the Kiddush and Motzi. And you can follow along, and I'd like to ask you to please rise. So let's do the Kiddush first.
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Amen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
And I will do the Motzi.
We'll sing it. Ready?
We'll sing it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Patei avo.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. And this is still on, right?
Yep.